You might have heard a lot about Longlegs coming to theaters. It's on July 12th. And you might have heard about people on Twitter. You might have heard about it in the news. People are vomiting. People are passing out. People are going to the theater. And they're getting scared out of their minds. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the movie that Longlegs is. That's not what it is at all. It is not this sort of boo, haunted house kind of scary movie. It is a more cerebral, more unnerving, more just an experience that you take with you from the theater to your house and you remember when you're trying to go to sleep. That is the type of experience that you're going to get with Longlegs. Now, Longlegs, it comes from Osgood Perkins, who just happens to be Anthony Perkins' son, which is crazy. It stars Maika Monroe, it stars Nicolas Cage, and it's sort of this classic FBI agent is stalking a serial killer story. Yes, it sounds like Silence of the Lambs. It is not like Silence of the Lambs. Not in the slightest. Silence of the Lambs is somebody getting help from Hannibal Lecter to chase after a different serial killer. There is no help from serial killers here. Maika Monroe plays Lee Harker, an FBI agent who has sort of the gift of foresight. Almost. There's a bit of mysticism in Longlegs. It's not like going to hit you over the head with it, but it is there. Nicolas Cage does play the titular Longlegs, a serial killer that has been killing for decades, but the FBI and police can't seem to catch them. They can't get them in the act. They can't get them at the scene. Somebody or something is helping them, and that's the story of Longlegs. I will not spoil anything for you after that point. If you've seen trailers for Longlegs, you don't know what the movie's about. But I will not tell you anything outside of that. I will be very vague going for the rest of this review. So that's the plot synopsis. That's the way to get you in the door to see Longlegs. And so the film itself, it is beautifully shot. Osgood Perkins just knows how to shoot a horror movie here. The angles, the shots, the shot composition, the lighting, everything, the music, all of it goes into this experience that is deeply unsettling. It is deeply unnerving. You are sitting there in the theater going, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And not in a way where it's like Terrifier 2, where, oh my God, is Art the Clown going to tear somebody in half? What's going to go happen? It's not like that. You are sitting there and I felt myself doing this in the movie theater. I was leaning forward a lot. I was leaning forward and I was going like this. Or I was going like this. You are so enthralled with the action on screen. Even if there is a lack of action on screen, you are enthralled. You are hanging on every frame of this movie. And that is the most beautiful part of it, is that it is not this, like I said, boo haunted house horror movie. There are some things like that. You get like a couple of them here or there, but they're very, very well used. And the rest of it is just this unnerving feeling in the back of your head, and that cerebral, like, sort of caveman part of your brain that you will remember far after you've seen this movie. Nicolas Cage is so terrifying in just this muted way. I was sitting there in the theater after my screening, and I was thinking of the most terrifying movie characters, the most terrifying movie performances, and he's up there. It's up there. It's like Leatherface, Gunnar Hansen. I was almost said Gunnar Henderson for baseball fans out there. Linda Blair from The Exorcist. Hannibal Lecter. And Nicolas Cage's Longlegs is up there. It is so just gets under your skin and you can't escape it. And you feel for Lee Harker as the plot moves along and things start twisting and turning and winding and you find out why or how Longlegs is doing their killing and how this sort of is unfolding. You learn more and you don't actually learn more, and it's great for that reason. You are left with a lot of answers, but you're left with more questions after the fact. So you do get some answers to things, but you're left with more questions after you get those answers, and that's the sign of a great horror movie, is that you're not giving everything away. You're not being spoon-fed by the director or the writer. You're just given a great sort of meander through this plot. As for some things that don't work as well with Longlegs, there is a point just sort of past the midpoint, sort of 3/4 of the way through the movie-ish, where it does lose a bit of its legs. It does lose the wheels a bit. They come off, and it feels like it kind of drags just a bit, and it's not enough to make it so that it's not a great film. It's just a bit to make it so that it's not a perfect film, and you get a feeling of, is it going to end here? And it doesn't end here, and you're like, okay, well, why does it keep going a little bit? And you see why it does keep going a little bit after that. But that point in the film is a bit of a letdown. It does drag the film down a little bit. The soundtrack for the film is wonderful. It is filled with some rockin' tunes, which is, you know, a nice juxtaposition from the plot. It is set in, I believe it's set in the late 80s or early 90s. I can't remember the exact plot, the exact year here off the top of my head, but you do get some killer tunes from that era. You get some killer cars. So if you love those sort of older style cars, you get to see them all. It's amazing. The fact is that Longlegs is going to get a bunch of press. It's going to get a bunch of hype from people in the horror community. And I'm here to tell you that if you go into this film and you are as blind as possible, you are going to really, really enjoy yourself. It feels like, I'm going to say this is a little blasphemous though for some people that hate this movie. It felt like Skinamarink, but with a plot and with actors and lines of dialogue and all of that. It felt like that kind of horror where it's sort of ethereal almost. It feels like you're watching a dream at points. It feels like you've turned on your TV in the middle of the night and it's on paid programming. It feels kind of like that, like the glow of the TV. There are scenes where that cuts the aspect ratio down to just something like this, a square. And it feels like you're voyeuristically looking in on somebody. It is one of my favorite movies of the year. It is one of my favorite horror movies of the year. Of my favorites, there's Abigail, there's some other ones, Destroy All Neighbors. It is much different than those two films. It is much different. It is a new take on the sort of FBI agent chasing a killer subgenre of horror. Maika Monroe she does channel her inner Scully, her inner Clarice Starling, but she adds enough to that archetype to make her, Lee Harker, into somebody to go up with those characters. And she is fantastic. She carries the film. There are some points where it is a nice bit of levity as well. You get some comic moments that are not like people are going to come in here with pitchforks and horror movies shouldn't be funny. It's not like that. It's like dark humor. It's like unnerving, laughing, like you're uncomfortable laughing about it. That's at the heart of it, at everything of Longlegs. That is what this movie is about. It is a bit of uncomfortable laughter with a nice dose of unnerving horror. And I love this movie. I think it's one of the best horror movies of the year so far. It's definitely going to be in the running at the end of the year for best horror movie and, you know, let alone best movie. It is a great movie. I cannot wait to watch it again in theaters. Longlegs does come out in theaters on July 12th, so you can go check it out. It is magnificent. It is fantastic. I loved this movie so much. Nicolas Cage is a chameleon in this film. He is it's not unrecognizable because it's Nicolas Cage, but he's just up to that point of being unrecognizable and terrifying and unnerving and just charismatic also at the same time. And so I can't say enough about Longlegs. I really can't. It is amazing. Go see it in theaters. Go see it with a bunch of people as well. It is a great theater movie. It's a great group movie, and it'll scare the hell out of you. And if it doesn't scare the hell out of you, I'm sorry, but it scared the hell out of me. So go check out Longlegs in theaters, and if you like this movie review and you want to see more like this, check out this playlist right here I have. It's of all of my movie reviews since I've started doing them on YouTube.